Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. I hope you are well. We are going to look at our Microbit, and this is going to be a little bit of remote control. We can send a radio signal from one Microbit to another. This means that we can take a lot more control over our forklift, where we can make it go forwards, backwards, left, right, and of course the most important, which is stop. This means that we've got anything from 0 to 4. That includes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason I choose 0 in that whole string of numbers is because 0 is actually important when you come to program, because 0 has an actual state in programming. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go get some if blocks. I'm going to go and get if. And what I want to do is I need 5 of these, so I'm going to go and just hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is going to be my motors. So I need to go and get my extensions. So I think it's Nether, or it could be Planet X, and just go and check what's in here, whichever ones we've been using in class. Yeah, these are my motors. This is what I want. So I want all motors in there, so when I'm not pressing anything on the Microbit, it's all stopping. Now on the Microbits, on version 2s at least, we can have A and B pressed, A pressed, B pressed, and we can also press the logo as well. So we have 4 inputs here, as well as you'll notice that I've got this on the side here, which is an extension for anyone who is really well versed in this and confident in using these blocks of code, because this here you can notice has y, y, x and x, and you can see that this value here is minus, and this is 100, and this is minus 50, and this is 150. And those of you who remember making your computer games on the Microbits, this is the tilt function, so you can actually tilt your Microbit backwards and forwards. You can also shake it as well. So if you've got a version 1, we can help you overcome the limitations of this. But this bit over here is for anyone who's going to go a little bit further. So the first job is you want to go and get these blocks ready. You want to go and get, I've got radio set group. You can have this down to 1 or 0. And what this means is that this ID, as long as they're the same, it's going to speak to the other Microbit that's got the same ID as well. So make sure you've got a number in there. Make sure you've got one that is unique within the class, so it's not interfering with another Microbit. So we have 4 extra spaces down here now, and what we want is we want some inputs. So now we're going to get those things that I was talking about, those inputs, A, B. So we can go and put A when A is pressed. So if A is pressed, and then we can go and use the other inputs that are on here. So I'm going to go to inputs. I've got A button, and then change that to B, and duplicate that and go into A and B. And then the last one is going to be the logo. But you could experiment a little bit here, and you could have the shake gesture if you wanted there as well. So you could go and get the shake if you wanted. And inside the shake, you'll notice that you've got it uses the accelerometer inside this. So that's something for you to explore. What I'm going to use is the logo though, because I don't think many people realize you can actually hit the logo. So I'm going to go to my inputs and go to the bottom, and it says is logo pressed. So that's that there. So what I want to do now is I want to go and send a number now. I want to go and send a number to my radio on received. So when my radio receives a number over here, it's going to go and perform the action with the Nether extension. So I'm going to go and get my numbers. So I want to go and send a number. Let's go and put that as 0. In fact, I want 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So duplicate, 2, duplicate, and duplicate. Whoops, keep that back in there. There we go. So then I want 0, 1, 2, 3. So I could have, yes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's go and stop all motors over here, because that's an output. What I need to do now is duplicate this one and go and get 4. There we go. That's more like it. So what I want to do now is these inputs over here, it's always else, send for equals stop. So what I want is forwards, backwards, left and right on this one. So I need some other if statements over here, and I need the same amount on this side. So I've got my controls. And so if receive number, and what we can do is we need if receive number equals, and so we need some logic in here. So let's go and put our duplicate, and we want an equals, another equals, and another equals, like this. And we can go and drag this variable into the received number bit. So when you go and drag that in, let's go and put that over to the side. We can talk about that later. So I want 0, 1, whoops, 1, 2, 3, and what I want now is I want another one. Let's go and duplicate this, so get the whole thing. Duplicate number 4, and then if number 4 is going to be stopping all motors. So let's just go and just read this for a second. Let's go and read this for a second. A button press sends 0. So I want this to be forward. So let's go and say radio 0 is forward. So what I want to do is set my motor. Now if I've got one motor, it's just M1, but if I've got two motors, I want this to be M1 and M2, and I want it to be going at 100% forwards. So this is now going to go 100% forwards. So what I can do now is just have a look inside my nether here, and you can see I've also got my servos as well. So my servos in here, which means that my forklift can also be controlled with another action. Now we've already talked and briefly talked about this action, and this action inside your input was if you had a shake option, if you're tilting backwards and forwards and up and down, it's going to recognize whether it's up or down. So it means that you may be able to go and use the accelerometer, or experiment at least, with your servos later on. So we just want to make this move at the moment. So let's go and say that receive number 1 is on the B, so I wanted to go on the right hand side, so I wanted to turn right. This means that I'm going to have to go and set my motors to a different spot now. So it means that I need to go and change this down to 0 on one side. At the moment I don't know whether this is going to be incorrect or correct. And then this side is going to be 100. So this means that this motor here is turning. If we go and turn it to 50, so it's not so fast and it's not so spinny, that means that this wheel on the right hand side, on the left hand side, sorry, it stays still, while this motor goes forward and continues to drive it around the right hand side. If we go and do the opposite now for this one, so I want A and B. So maybe what I want is B to be pressed, which is number 1. A and B, what I want this to do is go backwards, for example. And I could have the logo pressed as something else. It just means that now I have to go and change this one to 50. Change that to 50. And this one to 0. And now it's going the opposite way round, providing that I've got my motors set in the right order. Now I can go backwards, which is the opposite to this one. Let's go and change this. M1 and M2. Now these are going in the opposite direction. So these are now minus 100%. So they're going in the opposite direction. That's completely opposite. And of course, we've got forwards, right, left, backwards. And then number 4 is to go and stop all motors. If I just get rid of that, it makes it a bit tidier. So that's what I want to do. And that's what I'd like it to be able to go and do. What will happen now is inside my simulator, it should start to understand that I'm talking to another microbit. So that's it from beginning to end. What I would do for you is you probably need to go and just build one item at a time. Do a button pressed and send a number. Once you get received number equals 0, that's going to go and turn the motor on. Once you've completed all this and had a go, because then you've got A and B over here as well, these are working, and you've got your logo that's been pressed. Once you know that these are actually sending the signals to the motor correctly, then you should start to think about having your servo working, where you've got different actions here, perhaps with your tilt, so that over here when it sends another number, It's going to be up and down, so maybe it is now 5 and 6. Send number 5 and 6. If something else is pressed, or you've got what we're talking about, input, and we've got our shake, and this time we've got our logo up, you want your servo to go and work when you go and send a different number. Let's go and undo that and make that nice and tidy. So here I've just finally tidied it up. So I've got a shake gesture here, just in case I want to make my robot stop and send the number 4 to my received number equals number 4, and I can go shake it, look, like that. Right, go and have a little go yourselves, and as always, good luck.